All right, good afternoon, folks. Back in the shop today, what we're gonna do is we are gonna carry on from the other day's lesson. So the other day, we were talking about some 1F welds, and we were doing those in a lap position. So we were taking two pieces of steel, we're tacking them together on the ends, and then placing them on a 45 degrees, so the axis of the weld was straight vertical from the very back corner, the throat, I guess, right through the center of the face, and that was vertical. So that was position one. Position two is a horizontal, and that's gonna be done like this. We're gonna do it just like that. I gotta let someone into the waiting room. So there he is. Awesome, thanks for joining us, Liam. I'm glad to have you here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna carry on with that. So what we're gonna have to do is turn our welder on, and I've got it set up for about the thickness I want. We're gonna tack these on the end. We're gonna set it up. I'm gonna run through how to create a nice weld in there. The other day I did okay, had some decent looking welds. Hopefully I can recreate that today. So I'm gonna set those up just like that. Get the welder turned on, ground clamp hooked up, bottle on, and we should be good to go. So I don't have a whole lot of gas, but I got enough for today's lesson. I'm gonna connect my ground clamp like we always should have it connected. With the stinger though, one thing I like to try and make sure is I don't wrap it in tight coils. So I'm actually gonna bring it around the table and back up here. That way it has a nice big long loop and not a tight little corner. So we don't want that tight little corner. Checking the end of my welding gun. Not a whole lot of spatter in there, so we don't need to clean that. I can hear that I have gas. Welder seems to be working. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by doing some tacks. So just like the other day, I'm gonna set it up. I use two pieces to support it. I am going to then put a Smarty sized tack on either end, maybe a little smaller than that. And that's gonna hold things in place. Whew. That does not sound very good. So we're gonna check our settings and gonna reduce my wire feed speed because I had too much wire going there. Couldn't burn it off as quick as I wanted it to. So then I actually got some sparks in the back of my hair and burned the back of my head. So PPE fail. I should have been wearing a welding beanie. So we got this side pressed down. We're gonna tack this in place. That sounded a little better. All right, so first one, too much wire feed speed, made a really high humpy tack, not exactly what I wanted. Second one, turn the wire feed speed down, and it made a lot better of a tack. You guys probably heard the difference in sound. This joint isn't quite as close as I want, so what I'm gonna do is, you guys won't be able to see it, but there is a slight little gap. Oh yeah, you can. You can see a slight gap there. We're gonna close that up a little bit. It may get loud for a second, but what I do is I put this on the anvil, smack the top of the hammer, and it sucks those two pieces together. So one little hit, I've closed that gap. That's what I want. We want a nice tight fit up when working with it. So let's talk about how this is gonna go down. We're welding. I'm gonna start on my right side and I'm gonna pull to my left because I am left-handed. If you guys are right-handed, you're gonna start on your left side, pull to your right, your nice comfortable side. Also, we gotta remember, we have to be able to move back and forth on the table. We don't wanna lock our body up and end up in a real awkward type position where we're all just kind of T-Rexing it with the weld gun, you know, that kind of thing. We don't wanna be stuck like that. We wanna be able to move. So we got arms, we might as well use them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide side to side. I'm gonna jam this in here. I'm gonna weld on the back side of this so you guys don't get flashed out too much. You're still gonna see it pretty bright, but you're not gonna flash out too much. What I'm gonna do is when I approach this, I'm gonna come in at about a 45-degree angle, maybe 40 degrees. I'm gonna point right into that back corner of the weld. So when I do that, we're gonna pretend this is the end of the gun, gonna point it right into here. It's kind of like that, and we're gonna have a little bit of a drag angle. So if you can see how it's laid back just a little bit, we're gonna drag right across that weld joint. And we're not gonna go too much. We're gonna fill this about halfway, maybe a little bit more, because we don't wanna leave too much space to fill up on the cap. The cap, if anything, should be a thin cap because it's really hard to control a lot of metal when you're trying to put a cap on. So that's the finish pass, right? The one that's supposed to be done. You shouldn't be able to grind on it, or you shouldn't have to grind on it. It should just be nice and clean. So we want that first pass is pretty important. We want to build that up enough so it leaves us a nice, easy fill job on the top when we get to that third pass. This is done in 3 passes, just like the 1F. So we're gonna get onto that right now. It's a short day. We're gonna work quick, but we're gonna talk you through it, and hopefully you'll have a good idea how to do it when we're all said and done. I'll lay this down, get ourselves in position, get comfy, make sure we can work where we want to work. Don't quite like that. You're gonna turn it. That's better for me. So I'm gonna get down. I get wide and stable. I don't know if you can see. I got foot out here, foot out here. I get low, nice wide, and that way I'm not standing here like this, wobbling away when I weld, because that's just gonna not be good. So I keep my arms in fairly tight, definitely not T-Rex tight. Keep my legs wide, get low, kind of like you're in football, you're on the line, lining up, and you got a guy in front of you, and you know you're going head to head. So you want to be the winner in that one. So you get low, you get, solid, and that's how I kind of do my welding too. So let's do that. Let's fire this one up and get this first pass in here, see how it looks. Definitely not the nicest work I've done, but there is a decent pass in there. You see it comes up most of the way up that back. It's fairly even size-wise. You don't see it change too much. A little bit at this end here. You see how far it comes up there. Not quite as much as I would have liked it to, but hopefully with that third pass, we can fix it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust my settings a little bit. It's gonna make this weld a little bit bigger, and we should be able to, yeah, you see that on the end there, that blue? That's the heat on the raw metal. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. So we go from a light gold to brown, to our purple, to our violets, to our blues. Yeah, that's the whole heat spectrum right there pretty much. So I've gone up to the bigger setting on this. Looks like we have someone else. You know what? We're not. So what we're going to do is going to get in and start welding this thing. So we're going to put the bottom pass on. So we'll have two passes side by side. They'll be shoulder to shoulder. We'll have our first pass in the corner, our second pass right up against it, blending onto it. That's going to create a nice shelf for a third pass on the top. So here we go. All right, I like the sound of that one. I like how it runs. I like that setting way better than the last one. So that, whoo, almost dropped her there. Switch to the proper pliers for holding steel. All right, so this is way better. Nice little pass there on the bottom. Looks pretty even, pretty decent, and gives me a nice, beautiful shelf to stack up that next one. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna throw that next one on here right away and see how that looks. All right, double check, no spatter. This is the money pass. So I always check, make sure I have no spatter. Nothing's gonna mess me up on the money pass, hopefully. So we'll see how it goes. Let's make or break, hopefully I don't fail. It's getting warm, folks, getting warm. But I think it looks half okay. So there, figure yourself out, camera. There's a finished product. Two nice welds laying over each other, looking pretty decent. I'm gonna cool this down. We're gonna buff it up and see if this looks any nicer. So what we have here, besides a bright red forehead from a helmet that was slightly tight, is a decent looking weld. See if we can get some detail in there. If I turn it a bit, see how that goes. You guys can see that. A little bit of undercut on the top. You can kind of see that line. The light plays off it a little bit right there. That's a little bit undercut. Not exactly what I want, but overall, decent-ish looking weld. Pretty smooth, even. Overall, it's kind of what I'd like to see from you guys. And I don't think you'd have any trouble doing this once we nail down the basics. It's a very simple weld. I don't practice these at all, and I just ripped off one that was okay. There is a little wobble right in the bottom line. You can see it there. Right there, yeah. I don't quite care for that, but you know, definitely could be a heck of a lot worse. So that is that. The big thing with this one is this top edge. So we're playing with gravity a little bit different here. When we're working on it like this and we're coming in on an angle, sometimes with this top pass, you need to lay it down a little lower. But when I say lay it down, I mean your gun angle. Have your gun angle a little lower so it pushes that material up against the back a little bit. Kind of going to use that arc force to smash it up and hold it into place as it cools. That's one thing I have found. So I don't do the straight 45 down for the last pass. You can. Some people do it like that. I drop it a little bit more and kind of push more against the back. Helps me get that weld up there. And you will see this top edge cut away. What we need to do is we need to go slow enough that we can watch that refill before we move any farther. So it's going to be a nice slow travel speed. I'm not too sure how long it took me to do that pass. Probably close to a minute. But I was making sure I was filling it in the whole way as I went. Well, mostly anyways, a little bit of undercut there. I could have gone just slightly slower and filled it in more. But yeah, today is a quicker video. So I want to show you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I also have a quiz for you. So I'm going to open up that quiz. And the quiz is backing off of the weld defects discussion we had yesterday. So it's a bit of a homework assignment. It can be. It's an easy one though, and I think it'll be fun. And it's going to get you guys looking at things a little bit differently. So I've got a couple people in the waiting room here. I just want to see. Admit. So hopefully, yeah, awesome. Thanks guys. I really appreciate you guys coming in today. Sorry for those who entered late. Class is pretty much done here. So what I'm gonna do is allow those people who want to take off the ability to take off. Yeah, and appreciate it. I want you guys to stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy. No worries, Nehemiah, that was me. I set up a waiting room to keep certain people out of here because we've had some unexpected guests, right? So no worries. I'll put the video up in a little bit here, and then I will, that's okay. I'll put the video up. You guys can follow that video, and then you guys can answer the quiz or the kind of homework assignment I've given you. And yeah, that's it. So I want to say thanks again, everyone. Drop your name if you haven't. I need those names in the chat. And yes, everyone have a great weekend. I will see you Monday. I'm going to shut down the video and the mic. I'll be here for 15 minutes for you guys. If you guys need help with anything, let me know. I got your back. All right. Stay healthy, you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. It's going to be a good one. Bye, guys.